on the victims. And you see Democrats all over the place. I've got a stack of news of Democrats celebrating the dead. Simultaneously, oh, we love them so much. Oh, but they deserve it. They're a bunch of Republican right-wing scum that like country music, flower country. Oh, but remember them and turn your guns in. But you're the ones that want guns, so you deserve it. That's what they're saying. And they think you're stupid. But the truth is, you've broken with them. You're awake to what they're doing. And so they now have weaponized all the media and the NFL and the late night shows, and that's not working either. So now they've got to wind up one of their toys to go out and shoot hundreds of people to try to then project it on us and say, see, we should be running things. We know you did it, scum. Bare minimum, by hyping the whole thing, you're to blame. And Colonel Schaefer says you're to blame. And the top psychiatrist that works for the federal government's come out and says you're to blame. And other experts are coming out saying you're to blame. And clearly look at the target, look at the guy, and it's all going to come out him there wearing his little pink hat and being part of the Women's March group and Sorcerer, and all of it's coming out. We know just exactly what went on now, don't we? We now have it all figured out, don't we? And so you better try as hard as you can to keep it covered up. Just like Hillary hacking the election. She stole 5 states, tried to steal 6 others, got caught, had 5+ million illegals vote, not 3 million, like Trump said. It's all come out. Harvard studies. They turned around and say the Russians tried to hack it. Well, of course, every foreign government out there tries to influence our elections. We do theirs too. But they weren't anything compared to all of Hollywood and all the big media and all the big telecoms and Google and Facebook and the big internet companies and the big universities and all the money and all the newspapers and the foreign governments and the Saudi Arabians and the EU and the Vatican all saying, you can't make America great again. You'll never rebuild. You'll never have 3% growth rate again. We're going to get your guns. We're going to ban your speech. Your kids belong to us. Remember MSNBC? Well, guess what? It ain't as easy as you thought it'd be, dirt bags. And now you're telling everybody you're going to start killing people. And you got CIA deputy directors on TV saying we're going to kill the president as a threat to the president, as if he doesn't know what you're doing, as if you think he's going to roll over. He's not rolling over. I'm not rolling over. And all you've done is summon the whirlwind, scum. That's all you've done is wake up America. Good luck now. Grindel thought he was coming to eat Beowulf. But Grindel went home with his mommy with his right arm torn out of the socket, bleeding to death politically. You think you're hunting us? Get ready. We're going to destroy you politically, and we're going to hold our fire. But you watch, they're going to false flag even bigger now. They're going for total broke to break your will. And if they do that, then they're going to put 50 million people in forced labor camps. That's mainstream news, and they can't wait to give every one of these little communists time with your wife and kids in some dungeon, because that's what they want. I'm not kidding. They're coming. You wanted to see the fight for America? You're living it. 2017, baby. This is it. Toe-to-toe combat with the globalists, politically. And every front they launch about Puerto Rico, or you name it, Trump is there to block them. It's an amazing time to be alive. Forensic psychiatrists suggest gunmen may have deliberately targeted conservatives, so CNN actually contributed to the mass shooting. Hell, I've seen CNN having guests on that were friends with the Scully shooter, saying he was not a bad guy and was a good guy. They celebrated it. You can pull the article up. As the motive behind Sunday night's massacre in Las Vegas remains unclear, forensic psychiatrist Dr. Michael Wellner suggested the gunman, Stephen Paddock, had deliberately targeted conservatives and that CNN was probably to blame. Well, it's beyond that. Paul Watson's being safe here. He walks through the motive, the history. Here it is. This is powerful. This is important.
5 minutes now after the hour, investigators now trying to figure out why a gunman opened fire with 23 firearms in his hotel and 19 back at his house, killing at least 59 people and injuring hundreds more. According to his brother, there was no clues he would commit such a horrific attack.
Oh, there were clues?
Religious affiliation.
Now his brother says he totally did it 100%. A 180 now that somebody's talked to him, because we need to shut this down. Now, 180 in just 2 days. But again, no, there was affiliations. We know. Antifa and other material inside. Continue.
You should know. He just hung out, shocked, horrified.
It was.
Complete.
I wanted to be nice on Monday, but even the crew said this guy looks like he's completely full of BS. I mean, if your child, you caught him with cookie stuff all over their face and a cookie in their hand, they said, oh, I wasn't eating the cookies, Dad. I mean, this guy, and he's totally 180. But I was nice on Monday and didn't say this guy sounded like he was full of baloney. But back it up 5 seconds. Let's finish up with this guy. Here is the reported shooter's brother, Eric Paddock. Here it is.
Hung out, shocked, horrified, completely dumbfounded about this.
So what goes on in the mind of a shooter like this as they shoot at innocent people? Here now to discuss this is Dr. Michael Wellner. He's a top forensic psychiatrist who has personally examined a number of mass killers. Doctor, thank you for being with us.
Morning.
What happened? What's going on here?
Well, if you want to understand the killer, the most important place to start is with the victims. And what we can immediately see is that he had no relationship to the killers. A workplace mass shooter knows his victims.
And they want to see the victim.
And they want to destroy, annihilate the workplace. That's another key point. The family mass shooter knows the family, wants to annihilate the family. The criminal enterprise wants to kill the gang. So it's a stranger mass homicide. And a stranger mass homicide happens for one of 2 reasons. Either a person acting for a cause, or a person acting because he wants to transcend notoriety and kill as many people as possible, like a James Holmes. However,
James Holmes, who was the
Aurora shooter.
And you worked on that case.
Yes. Here's the thing. Shooting for notoriety's sake, and nothing more, is a young man's crime. And this is a 64-year-old with no dramatic mental illness, no major decline, someone who's intact. I think if we want to understand what's behind the crime, we should look at James Hodgkinson, the shooter of Congressman Scalise, because that crime itself was intended to be a spectacle and of much bigger scope. Imagine this. What he intended to do, Hodgkinson, was not only kill all of those lawmakers,
Republicans,
but in doing so, he would have had to have special elections to replace all of them. And if it weren't for the security people who intercepted him, you had all kinds of congressmen and lawmakers in a dugout, defenseless, who would have been mowed down. My point is, a spectacle is either designed to cause some derivative impact or to instigate some cause discussion. So
that's right, a special election, and even mainstream news now admits this appears to be a destabilization campaign of the U.S. to bring in martial law. Folks, we must face the attack we're under if we're going to beat it. Yes, it's radical to say that, because reality's radical. This is happening. This is the battle for America. You're living 1776, part 2 right now. And other arrests. I have a stack of news here with the white people are evil. And it's mainly usually out of white folks' mouth because they want to prove how good they are, how hateful they are, how sick they are, how historically they are.
To the left,
Jelly
Red
owners
5
glad that
South,
white man
Los
shot white people,
Angeles.
not terror, but community outreach. This is out of Twitter. And of course, there's just thousands of these. So as I heard it was a country music, I felt relief. White people shooting white people isn't terror. It's community outreach. Really, white people are the second rarest group to shoot folks in the United States, according to FBI statistics. You know, the number one rarest group, they're also the richest people, on average. Asians. It's like white folks are like number 9 or number 10, depending on the year of richest or average middle class and wealth being the highest. It's just like test scores. It's the Asians up there on the stereotype, well-behaved, hardworking, smart, judicious, eat your lunch. And they're not shooting each other unless it's a few gangs. Occasionally that's usually done very quietly in some warehouse where they chop you up. You're fed to the fishes. But again, just more. Oh, you white people are. I saw that spaghetti western where Clint Eastwood was shooting a bunch of people. Yeah, that's the white people. They're all out there riding their horses to the country music thing and all shooting each other. It's the opposite. You don't have folks stealing people's wallets. You don't have people getting in fights hardly. But again, we're told white people are inherently evil. That's the attitude. And then I've got Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama right here. We'll get to this coming up. We have a surprise guest on the other side of this break. Oh, acid attacks are way up in Europe. They're calling for a ban on acid, like on a ban guns. That's coming up. As I had my Michelle Obama clip in here, but I can't find it. You guys give me the article, daughter. Oh, there it is. It's Michelle Obama. People don't trust politics because it's all white, all men. I mean, what a racist curmudgeon.
Protect your skin with SPF 30 Hydrate to skin.
Wounded or radical. All this about was we are
and much worse because of the lessons we learned from Columbine and the heroes of law enforcement, first responders, even the trained security at the Mandalay Bay there. And they went up there immediately to confront, not regroup, not organize, not spend time and try to determine what's going on. They saw what was going on. They interdicted the conditions and they saved many lives. So yes, there is an assault in the Second Amendment, but I got to tell you, Alex, I'm not out here alone. Not just the great men and women of the National Rifle Association, but good people. I'm watching Tucker Carlson and Greg Gutfeld and Newt Gingrich and a crime specialist from Australia completely destroying the lies and the fantasy of those that believe another gun law could have stopped this or any of the other mass shootings or any crime. If you can't keep real Kalashnikov machine guns out of people's hands in Paris, France, then obviously people with any intellect and common sense whatsoever will realize that there's nothing you can write on paper and turn into a law or a regulation that would have stopped any of the mass shootings, because evil is as evil does. But we, the citizens of America, will not let our Second Amendment rights, our God-given, constitutionally guaranteed right to keep and bear arms, we will not let it be infringed any further, and we're making a stand right here and right now.
We're going to break here in just a moment, so please stay with us. Again, Ted Nugent's our guest, but just briefly, have you seen the information coming out? They're looking at radicalization. Our FBI sources told us Monday, and it's now being confirmed, that there was Antifa and pro-Islamic garbage in there, and his live-in, common law wife was traveling to Dubai and other areas. He was wiring money all over to Islamic countries. This looks really bad.
Nothing would surprise me at this time. I believe that the law enforcement heroes of the Las Vegas jurisdiction are literally doing the greatest job.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
The shooting, but also the investigation. But you're right, Alex, we have to be suspicious. Our founding fathers and all citizens of America knows that this is a sacred experiment in self-government. We must always be suspicious. We must always question the information that we're given. And that's why I salute you, because you are an ass-kicking, we the people, Concord Bridge American patriot who asks questions. We need to demand honesty and transparency, and by shining light on cockroaches and constantly questioning...
We're doing it. Ted Nugent. Gotta go to break. Stay right there.
Support good oral health with our one-of-a-kind Super Blue fluoride-free products, InfoWars Life, collagen iodine, and an...
With implant sterile food. Double war.
Well, but using hell to Twilight Zone and come up with more absurd, offensive...
And they're getting crazier, Ted. That's the thing as I'm watching them. When do we hit peak craziness? Because it seems like I keep thinking we've hit peak craziness, and it just gets even more crazy.
Well, in reference to and responding to your point about the left literally squalling about a revolution, and they're going to gun ranges and they're arming up. These people I share campfires with, the right, the conservatives, the Republicans,
Stay to the left,
the good people of this
south of Los Angeles.
Start a revolution. It will have to come from the hate mongers in Antifa and the liberals and the Democrats and the Black Lives Matter terrorists and the hands up, don't shoot liars. If that's where it comes from, and Alice, I don't believe it will, because they have big mouths, they have no heart, they have no soul, and they're consumed with hate. I don't think they have the courage to really fight, truly fight, and put themselves in harm's way for the lie that they live every day. So I believe that the Republicans, the conservatives, we the people in the asset column of America, we already have a revolution going, and we got Donald Trump going. It is a we the people voting revolution where the apathy is slowly being discarded, and we're taking
Stay to the left,
Totally agree with
25
you, because
south
we're
of
winning
Los
the information
Angeles.
war. We're winning with Americana, with success, with excellence. It's spreading like wildfire. So the insanity is their political death throes. So who shoots first loses. And so, yes, but if they do start a physical war, I think you're about to say, we're not going to start it, we're going to finish it.
Well, hanging out with the Marines like I did last week in Okinawa, one of the Marines' battle cries
In
is
1.4
that
miles.
brother behind, and
Stay
that
to the left,
the Marines are the
25
greatest friends you
south.
can have and the worst enemies you can have, and that they will take on any challenge and finish it. And that's the kind of people I hang out with. And if there is a revolution, can you imagine the stoned hippie punks in Antifa taking on country fans or rock and roll fans, the conservatives, the hunters, the shooters, the competitors, the gun nuts? Can you imagine the quick end that would come to that confrontation?
Well, that's what's crazy. They admit they're trying to intimidate us, and they take our kindness for weakness and our restraint for weakness, but we're just getting more politically involved as they get more violent and beating them, and it's exposing them, and even Pelosi has to admit they're a terror group, and now they're being listed as a terror group. We're cleaning their clocks. That's why it's so important we continue to be peaceful and hold our fire, even as it comes out that this guy was connected to Antifa and Islamicists, and it's a horrible thing they did, but we're winning, and so it's key to stay nonviolent offensively. Yes, we should defend ourselves like the HRT and the police did when they killed this guy.
Absolutely, and the most important thing I can say, and this cannot be overstated, an American who believes in peace and security and freedom has got to be a member of the National Rifle Association. That is the force of we the people. Remember, the National Rifle Association is simply a family grassroots organization that will not allow our Second Amendment rights to be infringed. That's all the NRA is. It's we the people. It's good citizens of this country.
And the globalists know it. That's why Hillary, that's why Bear, that's why all the usual Oberman said, quote, that the NRA is a terror organization that needs to be outlawed. So they're saying gun owners are terrorists now.
Well, my response to the late-night so-called comedians that aren't funny at all, they say we have to do something. We just have to do something. They throw their hands up and they say, we have to do something. Well, Alice, throwing a cinder block to a drowning child is something.
Yes.
But it's the wrong thing. We don't need to do something. We need to do the right thing.
Well, look, Jimmy Kimmel has 5 to 7 bodyguards with guns at all times. It's on video. But he says some poor, sheet worker, a metal worker can't have a shotgun. But stay right there. One more segment with Ted Nugent straight ahead. We're going to talk about the revolution to restore the republic and what the panic left will do next to try to stop us. But we got him in a stranglehold. Know that for sure. We'll be back.
Come on, baby.
Office no appearance at the dawn of day.
And so, Revolutionary Day, InfoWars, caveman. But to not we've got
The United States of America, I hear from in my government, it really is heartbreaking and catastrophic. But again, I really have faith in my fellow Americans. The spirit and the indefatigable energy that we the people are now once again displaying, and again, it manifests itself in voting for Donald Trump because he's an outsider, he's a status quo crusher, and all things status quo have to be crushed now. That's why I admire what you do, Alex Jones, is you crush the status quo and you spotlight cockroaches and you ask questions, and we're demanding constitutional accountability from our elected employees. So the swamp hasn't been drained. It's a murk fest out there, but certainly the prognosis is better than you and I witnessed in the last 8 years.
But we also had these Democrats, as you mentioned earlier off air to me, that refused to stand for the moment of silence and said it was wrong. And then you have the NFL trying to bully Trump into saying, that it's okay to not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance or put your hand over your heart. Now the NFL's had to back down. The NBA has. They're finding out the true power of America. Trump said it's not appropriate. It's disrespectful to our veterans and our country to do that. And they said, no, you're disrespecting the NFL. That was the head of the NFL. He had to back down pretty quick. But again, we're winning, but the arrogance of these people is frightening.
Well, remember, it was the NFL, too, that literally continued the lie of hands up, don't shoot. There hasn't been any hands up, don't shoot. Never happened. It's a lie. And these goofballs, these uneducated, spoiled, overpaid brats, obviously the concussions are already happening at a fast rate because you have to have a concussion. Your brain has to be wounded and bloodshot to perpetrate and continue the lie of hands up, don't shoot. And these clowns came out in the field with their hands up, don't shoot lie going on. So when you've got that level of ignorance, and, there's a difference between ignorance and stupidity. When I go to the Indianapolis 500, I'm ignorant about how to tune a
Stay to the left, Wi-Fi south.
of Indy race engines. I'm ignorant about it. But what's stupid is to protect that ignorance and not allow information to come in so that you're not ignorant anymore. These people like their ignorance. They fantasize about their ignorance. Ignorance is about feeling good instead of doing good, and the NFL dirtbags manifest that.
You're right. They wear their ignorance like a cloak of invincibility.
It's unbelievable. Antifa. I mean, they're supposed to be anti-fascist, and I got a couple things I got to share with you. So your anti-fascist, so you use fascist techniques. You occupied Wall Street, but you got to your protest by using Wall Street
Stay to the left, Y5 south.
eating Wall Street food, and using Wall Street handheld devices
Yes.
to protest Wall Street. I mean, this is planet. These people have to be on acid. Do they put LSD on their Cheerios? You have to be brain dead and protect that stupidity to a maniacal degree to not know that you're protesting the system by which you have.
Continue straight for 8
Wow,
minutes
Ted
to
Nugent is on
I-5
fire.
south,
You're a
Los
smart guy,
Angeles.
family guy, successful business, not one of the top guitarists out there in history. But as libertarians, as conservatives, as patriots, as Americana, we need to look into the future. They've only gotten more radical. They've only gotten more crazy. They've been calling for an October, November surprise. All the experts are saying this guy has the same cutout as the loon that went and shot Scalise and others who wanted a special election. He wanted to kill 15 members of Congress at least. And that even came out on Fox yesterday. So Scalise has come out and said he believes more in the Second Amendment now than ever because it was guns that helped save him. But they're going to double down. They're going to get violent. And they're going to intensify. I agree, most of them are wimps, but enough of them are crazy. In your gut, I agree we're going to win, but what do we need to do to win politically and B, intellectually? And just in your gut, as a smart guy, what do you think these snakes are going to do next?
Well, thank God for social media. It can be a pain in the ass, but it can also be a huge benefit to meaningful communication. If you go to my Facebook, Alex, you'll see tens of millions of people. Facebook hippies claim I only have 3.5 million, but I recently had over 12 million responses to one of my posts. So if you go to my Ted Nugent Facebook, you'll see that millions and millions of people share the common sense, the logic, the goodwill, the decency, the self-evident truth that Alex Jones and Ted Nugent live by, the quality of
Watch
life
out, crash reported
but then
ahead.
you'll get the occasional leftist, liberal, dope-smoking maniac who wants to kill my wife because we eat pheasant. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And I've got to also allude to what you brought up about Scalise, talking about a great spokesman for our Second Amendment self-evident truths. Here's a guy who was gunned down by an Illinois resident who had a firearms owner ID card in his pocket because Illinois back in the 70s passed a law that you had to go through some government scrutiny in Illinois to buy .22 ammo or to buy a rifle or a pistol or a shotgun, even just for weekend recreational hunting activities. The guy that gunned down Scalise passed all the strictest gun control regulations in Illinois and had an Illinois firearms owner ID card in his pocket. And God knows that made the world safer. The left are out of their minds. Watch Nancy Pelosi try to
Watch out, hazard reported ahead.
try to stumble onto a cognitive thought, and you look at your Democrat friends and you go, "Are you with these?"
I don't have Democrat friends anymore. I don't have because they're so
I don't
crazy.
have anything. You know, when I walk down the street, when I go to the feed mill, the hardware store, when I take Mrs. Nugent out for some sushi, the hippies part like the Red Sea before Moses. They scramble for cover.
They do.
It's so beautiful, I can hardly stand myself.
It is a pleasure. And then the good people of every race, color, creed, all our folks are just red-blooded, strong, have a gleam in their eye. Be they black, white, doesn't matter. And you look at liberals, they literally look like they've never been out of the house in 100 years, like they got run over by a car. I mean, I'm sorry, they're just mentally ill, like you said, and we've just got to protect ourselves from them and just try to move forward and keep making America great again, and we're doing it. We've turned the tide, TedNugent.com. We got to pray for all those families and all those victims, but they will not be sacrificed on the altar of globalism to disarm America. They'll only make us stronger, and so that's my final point on that. Ted Nugent, thank you so much for joining us. Final comment.
Thank you, Alex, and I look forward to seeing everybody on my Facebook page, and we will celebrate the National Rifle Association as we the people who keep and bear arms.
All right, Uncle Ted, let me say bye to you during the break. Thanks for giving us so much time. We got big breaking news on the Las Vegas attacks and more on the other side with investigative journalist Laura Loomer. She's got contacts inside the hotel. Stay with us. That was Ted Nugent. Stay with us. I'm very proud to announce the introduction of the highest quality InfoWars Biome Defense probiotic that we have been able to develop. Best tasting for a journey towards death.
Life. Your body relax.
Alex, you name it, that she doesn't want any information. Price, it really is. He got pretty freaked out when they got it tested, and they found that. But Alexa Pure Breeze, Air Purifier, 20% off. Ari, the very low price for a limited time. Oxy Powder, 25% off. Caveman, with the turmeric and the chaga and the bee pollen and so much more. The alfalfa powder. Just talk about energy, talk about stamina, talk about good for your bones, good for your joints. The power is in the bones, and the ancients knew that. This is the ultimate bone broth formula. It's 50% off, and that's got to end in the next few days as well. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. I want to thank you all for your financial support. What I really need is prayers for myself, my wife, for my children, for the crew, and for InfoWars, and for our affiliates, and for all of you as well. Together, the truth and justice continue to come out. But make no mistake, the globalist forces that control the Democratic Party and the Republican leadership are launching an attempt at a civil war in America. We have the sources. This guy was connected to Antifa and connected to Islamicists. That's now emerging. So bombshell events. We have Colonel Schaefer of Army and the CIA high level saying his intel is exactly the same. We have high level government psychiatrists saying the same thing. That's all up on Infowars.com. DrudgeReport.com has his top link right now with the fact that he was on drugs, like we predicted he would be, psychotropic style, antipsychotic drugs that can make you black out. He was also, of course, got a prescription the day before where we filled it. We also know that, again, they're investigating connections to radical groups, and we know he had room service for 2 and exclusive from Laura Loomer in our article linked up in Drudge. So true journalism from your sources that you gleaned.
Yeah, hi, Alex. So early this morning, I have not slept. I was up all night gathering information regarding these receipts. There's a Hispanic room service employee at the Mandalay Hotel who made a Facebook post in which he, as you can see on the screen right there, he showed pictures of the receipts from Stephen Paddock's room. And as you can see from the receipt, it says in-room dining IRDMB. So it's IRDMB, and then it's 32135, which stands for room 135 on the 32nd floor. And it says that he had 2 guests. So this goes against everything that the FBI and the Las Vegas Police Department has been reporting to the American people and the public, in which they said that he was alone in his room and didn't have a guest. And then they also told us that he checked in on the 28th. But if you look at the date on the receipt, it says the 27th. And my sources, a source who has access to the booking information, an employee at the Mandalay Resort Hotel.
You had already said this yesterday on my show and published it before this even came out.
Yes, that the shooter checked into the hotel on the 25th. So I don't know why. I mean, there's obviously a cover-up going on here. The FBI...
And now we know why there's Hispanic folks that were probably working in the hotel warning people saying, get out of here, you're about to die, because the hotel had to know he's there with 5 days, 22 guns, right, all the ammo, 2 rooms, cameras outside the room. I mean, security would be there in 5 minutes.
Right, and so, you know, I've been trying to tell people over the past 24 hours that the shooter has been inside that suite since the 25th of September, but for some reason, the FBI and the Las Vegas Police Department have been lying and deceiving the American public. Why don't they want us to know that he checked in 3 days earlier? Why? It's mind-blowing, and they were caught in their own tracks lying. I mean, receipts do not lie. There's a timestamp, and it says 2 guests with the room number and the floor of the hotel, and they're caught lying. So
and just like 9/11, they had Muslims running around New York. It was in major newspapers saying those towers won't be there on the 11th. There are people that knew here because he was preparing with a huge arsenal for 5 days. Thank God that, the Hispanic workers were running around warning everyone, and now they're posting those receipts.
Yeah, no, exactly. And he posted it in Spanish. If you look at my original tweet, and the picture that Paul Joseph Watson posted, it's in Spanish, and I speak Spanish, so I translated it, and it says, it goes along the lines of...
You had the hotel worker that ran the data. We've had folks inside of that before as well. This is real investigative journalism. You were already reporting this before the receipts surfaced. This is incredible.
Yeah, but my reporting suggests it's even 2 days earlier than the receipts. The receipts are saying the 27th, but my intel and my sources who work at the Mandalay Resort are saying the 25th. And I'm just saying, stay tuned for today's presser, because Donald Trump, you know, he had a very dismal tone this morning when he was speaking to the media and said there's more information that's coming out, and we've learned a lot, and it's a very sad day for me. And I have a feeling that a lot of the information that I've been reporting and that you've been reporting here at InfoWars is going to be confirmed, and, you know, we're going to be vindicated today. By the president and by this presser, because they can't lie any longer. And I'm also being told that, you know, other sources have confirmed my date of September 25th.
Wow, this is so dangerous. I just want people to know this is the real deal we're involved in. The hostage rescue team was so concerned they let us know within hours that, no, Alex, this is bull. There's Antifa stuff inside. There's more.
Yeah.
Her going to Islamic countries, that came out later. This is a huge cover-up, Laura.
And also, too, I don't know if people caught this, but the Las Vegas Police Department, they said originally that she was in Tokyo after it was reported that she was in the Philippines. And then the reports are coming in this morning that she landed around midnight from the Philippines. So why are they telling us that she's in Tokyo when she was actually in the Philippines, which is being ravaged by ISIS? And then the sister of Mary Lou Delaney, or whatever her name is, she came on today, and she said, Stephen had her sent away so that he wouldn't interfere with what he was planning.
That's right. It's all coming together, and all this money, millions of dollars. Is he an Antifa globalist cutout? Was he a patsy who was set up? It's all coming up with Laura Loomer, former SEAL, and others.
Support good oral health with our one-of-a-kind super blue fluoride-free products. InfoWars Life Springfield Revolutionary Toothpaste Blend, and selected.
This powerful combo is perfect for experiencing slow metabolism.
180 MO looks like that.
People can't seem to have a fun...
You just missed a really big part of this interview with the brother. As he was talking, it sounded like he had an earpiece in his ear, and he said Steve wasn't arms, and it sounded like he was about to say arms dealer or something, and then they cut him off, and then he realizes his mistake, and then he says he's sorry. So you should definitely go back and play that footage, because that is very suspicious, given the fact that he had all of these weapons and other properties.
Well, that's where, funny you say that, that's where Millie's going, is this was an arms deal gone bad with jihadis, that they set him up, and that they then did the shooting, and then that's what happened.
But listen to that audio that you just played again, because I was listening, and I think you just missed one of the parts where it almost looks like he has something in his ear, and he said Steve wasn't arms, and then he realizes his mistake. And of course, I'm looking at...
Was that in the clip I just played, or a clip you have?
It's a clip. It's the same interview that you showed, but I don't think you isolated the correct part.
Okay, I was just showing him saying my brother didn't do anything, my brother did everything. I was just showing the contradiction. But yeah, send them the clip or the part of the clip. How long's the whole clip, guys? 33 minutes. Laura, can you send them the clip you want played?
Yeah, I'll send it right now. It's just a 10-second clip. It's very quick.
If you send it to Nico or you send it to me?
Yeah, I'll text it right now. I mean, this is just how fast everything is changing, you know, like live time updates on the cell phone, having a report. I mean, I can't even begin to explain how many times I've had to charge my phone, and it just keeps jamming and jamming and jamming because you just can't get this much information out. There's just...
By the way, let me just stop right there. You have a rule, guys. When you pop in, I want you to be on air. Were you just on air, Matt? Matt just pointed out, he says 30-plus times, my brother acts alone. He's clearly does have an earpiece. They're talking, and you can see it's happening like Laura just said, and he's just parroting talking points. The worst actor. This is a total cover-up. This is a Democratic Party production. I will say it. They did it. They've been calling for a civil war. They've been calling to kill conservatives. They want our guns. They're completely obvious, and it's incredible. Laura Loomer, stay there.
Right.
Wow. We're going to get the clip she's talking about. This is insane. I'm going to isolate that clip as soon as we can and get it out on Twitter so people can share it. Because that's where we were already going in 30 minutes, was the arms dealing. I have it right here in my notes.
Exit right to exit
We hold these truths to be
151
self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and pain that is...
900 feet. Turn left on Penrose Street.
He was no pollution in October, talked about Craig Amendment, and
that he was shooting up, and you're trying.
I mean, Craig,
and that's with poison with.
By them calling for the violence, the target tells you the motive. The media being ready to go after the Second Amendment. This, as you said, Craig, this really smells as politically motivated. We found the clip that Laura Loomer has tweeted out. We were retweeting it.
Turn left on Penrose
Right
Street.
now, here he is, the brother of the reported shooter, clearly going off a statement, repeating like a parrot the same thing over and over again. But then he slips up and says this.
You use the phrase "evil genius." Do you think that he was?
I'm sorry. I mean, that's the thing I shouldn't have said. But that's what people are. I mean, that he's this. But he's a highly intelligent. There's absolutely no. And this is the other part that I want to stress with this. That it doesn't matter. They won't chase people. But people are saying, "Oh, he must have had help." Steve had no help. Steve didn't take help. It did not take a village for Steve. Steve was an arm. I'm sorry. Please don't. I'm using a colloquial. I was about to use a colloquial term that would besmudge one of the armed forces. Steve was a standalone guy.
Oh my gosh, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
300 feet.
Turn left on San Fernando Road.
This guy's wearing an earpiece for sure. Craig, watching this, as also a federal officer in clandestine stuff. I mean, what do you make of this? This is just insane.
Yeah, it looks like he caught himself, or somebody caught him in his earpiece. Saying, "Hey, whoa, what are you? Easy there." But look, we have to be intelligent enough as a society, as American citizens, to realize what our global enemies want. They need us divided and disarmed in order to put us under their ultimate control. They've got a lot of control already, but to finish it off, they need us divided and disarmed, and we must not play into it. So we need to unite. And I would say to people that are kneeling, that are rioting, that are wearing masks, that are attacking innocent families to shut them up, you're unwitting accomplices. You're helping our enemies by fueling that division.
Well, you've seen how many Democrats, Craig, have openly celebrated, saying, good, they're a bunch of white Trump supporters, they deserve to die. The vice president of CBS said it. I've got like 6-7 articles a day. Trudeau said it's white supremacy is the problem.
Well, to Joe Biden, I would say, hey, yeah, let's have a conversation, Joe, but let's have a conversation about why your demographic, why your political party voters are the ones committing all the mass murder. Why are
the media covers it up. Stay there. Laura Loomer's got a bunch more, too. Stay with us. This is an incredible time to be alive. I'm Alex Jones. Newswars.com, Infowars.com is leading the breaking coverage on fusion.
Entire, make it out right now.
That may harm your organic products.
This is the formula that I purge our bodies. Coming up soon. Oh, their move.
Tonight now, more than ever. And who owns this?
Events, but hotels, not just casinos, have a procedure. When you first leave your room, when you check in, they go search your stuff, especially if you fit a background, a profile, and then they go through everything else. And then if you've been in your room for a day, they come in whether it says do not disturb or not. The fact that he's in there for 5 days with all these weapons and not detected is impossible. And then you've got the people in the crowd saying, get out of here, you're about to die. That's confirmed. What does that sound like, Craig Sawyer?
Yeah, well, that sounds suspicious to me. Okay, again, a lot of the camera footage.
Turn left on San Fernando Road.
All of the camera surveillance footage gets rounded up by the feds, and nobody gets access to it ever. And no matter how long it seems to go afterwards. So that to me puts up a couple red flags as making it highly suspicious. So if it was just a single shooter, they wouldn't have any problem with people reviewing that surveillance footage from around the casino. So, man, it feels bad. It feels bad.
In a quarter of a mile.
Pardon me.
Turn right on Roscoe Boulevard.
It's all stuff in here. Well, Craig, let's talk to you again very, very soon as this unfolds. Craig Sawyer, you got about a minute with final comments.
Yeah, well, again, I think it's just a matter of recognizing the hostility and what the objective is of our enemy. Our global enemies need us divided and disarmed. That's what they're after. And if you understand their objective, you understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Turn right on Roscoe Boulevard.
Unite to counter it and not fall into the division. Let's not be rioting and kneeling and shouting each other down and wearing masks and mass murdering each other. We gotta be sharper than that. We're all in this together, Americans. We are all in it together. We're about to lose the rest of our freedom by being foolish. So I say that's the key, Alex.